Okay, so in the last video I showed you how I removed these bushes and this wall to get to a stage like this, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I went from this to a fully excavated driveway ready to receive the sub base for the drive itself. Now for this job I enlisted the help of my brother, which as always I'm very grateful of the help. Having two people on a job like this definitely makes it a lot easier, especially when you're doing a lot of the work manually. So what you can see me doing right now is cutting the pathway with an angle grinder. This was just a tarmac path, and what I decided to do was just to cut it into sort of manageable squares. And my brother here is using a pickaxe to just get under those squares and lift them up, which was very, very easy. And then there was a little step at the bottom. This was like a concrete step, and again just get the pickaxe underneath it, and that came up pretty easily. So following this, my brother proceeded to take up the turf on the right hand side here, and I had a little edging curb there that I was just removing from the path. And to do this I just got the pickaxe underneath the concrete bed, and this actually came up really easily once you got the pickaxe under there. If you tried to do it from the side it was actually really difficult, but by getting under from the front it made a lot of a difference. Okay, so once that was done I moved onto the path in front of the house, and unlike the previous path this had tarmac on top, and I have to be honest here, I didn't realise it had concrete underneath it. Maybe if I'd have known I wouldn't have actually taken this up, but I'm actually glad that I did. So we went and got a breaker from the hire centre. I'll leave a link to the hire centre in the description because these are the guys that I usually use. They're really well priced and they're pretty much all over the country. So once that was done, the following day my brother had some other stuff that he needed to get on with. So I was left to dig the remaining soil out by myself. Now the great news here is one of my neighbours told me he would take every single bit of soil off me because he wanted to raise a bed. So this made my life a lot easier. It meant I didn't have to hire another skip. And what I'm actually doing here is I'm digging to a depth of around 210 millimeters. I'm using my neighbour's drive there as a benchmark. And the reason I'm digging to that depth is actually I got advice from the people who are providing the grids that I'm using for the driveway, because this is going to be a gravel grid driveway. So the company that I'm using is a company called EcoGrid, and they have a really great customer service. So I sent them a lot of emails and I actually rang them a couple of times and they were just really, really helpful. So they recommended a sub base of 150mm hardcore followed by a 20mm layer of screed to kind of level everything out. And then the grids themselves are 40mm, so it came to around 210mm. So what I'm actually doing here is I'm getting the sides to the right depth, and then I'm kind of working my way across into the middle. And as you can see, I'm using the pickaxe to kind of dig, then I'm using the rake to level it out, and I'm just shoveling it all into bags here for my neighbour, which I proceeded to barrow around there and tip into his garden. So pretty straightforward, not very complicated, just hard work again. So it's just a case of rolling your sleeves up and digging. Obviously if you have access to a digger and you know how to use a digger, then by all means that will make the job faster. As you can see, I've done half of the drive here. You can see it's nice and flat at the top, and you can see the bottom here is looking much more uneven. This needs a bit of work. And following that, you can see the entire driveway area fully dug out, looking a lot better. You can kind of see the depth there on that front path of around 200mm, and also on the side here. And yeah, it's kind of at that point now where we're ready to start putting the sub base in. But before that, we are going to have somebody to come out and drop this curb, which they were able to come out and do that in a couple of days. Just after I'd finished this, it kind of timed it really well. But prior to that, I'm going to go over it with the whacker plate, just get it all flattened out, get it lovely and level. And what you can see me doing here as I'm going over with the whacker plate, whenever I get to a high point, I'm getting the rake there and just sort of taking those high points off and going back over with the whacker. And this actually got it really, really nice, flat and level, and compacted it down really well. So you can see the dropped curb there. You can see the drive all completely whacked and compressed, and you can see that depth on the sides. And that's it guys, that's the excavation done. So in the next video we're going to be adding the sub base. I hope you found this useful. Any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.